that we can compete in any context against any opposition, and now the next step is consistency. Do it in the Champions League at that level. Now we go to Ipswich against a really tough team and do it again.
And you mentioned about resetting. How hard is that for you to do such a short space of time, bottle that confidence, euphoria, belief, but also focus back on the league? There's lots still to play for.
Quite easy. Just review the Madrid game and immediately go to Ipswich and start to do all the preparation and start to watch the games we play against them and what we learned over the last few months since we played them. How can we hurt them, their qualities, and start to do all the preparation towards the game.
How are the injuries looking? Jorginho and Calafiori?
Yeah, Georgie is not going to be available yet, still struggling with that incident, and Ricky as well probably is not going to be available.
How would you rate Jorginho's chances of playing in that semi-final first leg?
That's probably a question for the doctor. It's quite a specific and difficult matter, so I will leave that to the club to make an update.
If he's not fit, and obviously Thomas Partey's suspended, what are you thinking in terms of that midfield?
A few options.
Are you going to have to think outside the box again, as we've seen you do this season?
We have a few options, and obviously we're not going to get anything away.
Will you be confident, presumably, given what you've done already this season, how your team has adapted, your players have adapted, if you had to move things around again?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it depends on the players as well, if they are comfortable doing certain things and how we can maximize our qualities in relation to the game we expect against them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Miguel.
Hi.
Ipswich, it was a tight game, wasn't it, back in December, 1-0 win for Arsenal. Obviously, they have to win to avoid being relegated this weekend. So how different of a game are you expecting based on the one that played in December, and how different of a game are you expecting based on the game you just played against Real Madrid?
Yeah, I understand where they are at the moment, and they're playing at home, and as you said, it's one of the fewest chances that they have, but for us it's a big game. We need to start to win football matches in the Premier League to at least maintain the position that we are in, and to push into the last few games with some hope, and we know how tough it's going to be. They are a really well-organized team. I think what Kieran and the staff have done is remarkable, and you see every week how they perform and the amount of issues they give to opposition, so we expect a tough game.
Liam Delap has had a really good season. I think it's 12 goals for him. How highly do you rate him as a forward player?
You know, I don't like to talk about any individuals of any opposition. As a team, they are very strong individually. They have players that can win you football matches. They've done it against big opponents, so we have to pay a lot of attention.
This weekend, the Premier League title could be wrapped up dependent on results in your game and obviously the Liverpool game as well. If that does happen this weekend, how important do the remainder of the Premier League games become for you, especially with the knock-on effect in terms of how your players perform in the Premier League, then affects how they may well perform in that Champions League semi-final?
I'll make sure that we win the game and that doesn't happen.
And finally for me, I just wanted to ask about Declan Rice. Obviously, he's got 7 goals, 9 assists in all competitions this season. That's the same as the whole of last season. How do you view him as a leader right now in your current group of players, and how much more of a leadership role do you think he could take?
Well, he's earning more and more. I think performances like he had in this against Real Madrid, it just puts the player in a different dimension, and that's why we brought him here. That's why we demand him as well to take more steps and to be more decisive in games, because he can do it. We've been talking about it for the last few weeks, and to do it at this stage is not easy. He's done it 2 times in a row. Now he's maintaining that level of consistency, belief, and undoubtedly his role will be bigger and bigger.
Just on the Champions League, I think sometimes there's sometimes there's a perception that it's better to have the second leg at home, but obviously against Real Madrid, first leg was at home, and I think, from my opinion, Arsenal really kind of set the tone. With the semi-finals, first leg's also at home, so do you kind of view that as a similar thing you want to replicate? Because, I guess the neutrals probably would say it would be better to have the second leg.
Yeah, my preference has always been to play the second game at home, but it's what we have at the moment, so learn from it, see what the advantages and the opportunities where they are, I think if any of you watch any football yesterday on European nights, in the second leg is absolutely madness. You can go anywhere. So it's great to learn as well about these kind of scenarios and why these things happen, because it can be very useful for us.
And you said on the midfield you have a few options in your head. I was wondering, is Miles one of them? Because obviously we've spoken about him being a left back this year, but he's naturally a midfielder. So would the next few weeks be a good opportunity to give him some minutes in there?
It will be down to the availability of players in that moment. So who is available, who is able as well to do that, for how long in games, because as well we had players that they could not play 90 minutes. So once we are closer to that game, we can decide.
Top footballer. Mikel,
Hi.
you mentioned you didn't really want to give it much away about how you might replace Partey. You've got these two Premier League games before that PSG match. How do you balance perhaps practicing maybe without Partey, but at the same time not giving too much away to PSG about what you might do?
Not really.
Okay. Erling Haaland posted some
Not
news.
ready neither.
Is he likely to be back for the? I think he was jogging in the video that he posted. Have you got a date when he might come back yet?
Next games will not be ready.
Okay. If I can ask you then about tomorrow's trip to Goodison Park. It's Manchester City's 100th and final trip to Goodison Park as well. Your record, other than that very first game that you were there for, has been pretty much perfect. So what are your memories and thoughts of Goodison Park, starting with that first trip there to, as I say, your excellent record subsequently?
Goodison Park is so special, like all traditional stadiums here in England from, I don't know, so when you go to Fulham or Villa Park and stadiums like that, you feel the atmosphere is special. So, but the clubs grow, and I'm pretty sure the new stadium will be nicer in terms of being more maybe comfortable. And yeah, it's a nice place to go. Difficult one, of course, but nice place to go.
And as I say, just finally for me, if I may, other than that first one, 8 wins out of 8 trips that you've got there, what difference do you think that David Moyes being there now may make for tomorrow's visit?
The results speak itself. I think Sean Dyche make an incredible job as well. And don't forget how Sean took over the club or the team in that moment, was in a difficult position and avoid the relegation. But the impact from David with his experience and making an incredible job in West Ham last one, I think, all his career. But he has done an unbelievable job in terms of results, so clear. The patterns are so clear, but so difficult to handle it. And yeah, it's an important week for us.
Hi, Pep. As someone who's been involved all your career, basically, as a coach in the back end of the Champions League, what has it been like this week, previous weeks, when the Champions League matches are happening and they're getting to the really important stage and you're not involved? Do you watch them and watch them as I don't know, as an observer, as a manager, or do you just think it doesn't involve me, so I'm not paying any attention?
No, I enjoyed the games. Have been a really nice games. So Tuesday in Villa Park was a fantastic game. I think in Dortmund as well against Barcelona. I've been a good games. Enjoy it, miss it of course, but accept. So I'm a person like, I don't complain much what the life give it to me in the good moments, especially not in the bad moments, because it's a sport. Sometimes you don't perform well, you don't deserve to be. It's just, okay, hopefully next season we can be there and, you know, deal with the big clubs in Europe. We can challenge them better than we have done this season, challenge them what we have done in the last 7 years. Like every season we were there. Even when we were out, always we compete really well. So, yeah, I take it in that way.
Does it make you, I mean, this is a big week for City. Everton away is a tough game. Villa is a tough game, and then the semi-final. Does it give you any extra motivation, or do you not need any more motivation to get back into that competition and win something?
Of course it is. Of course it is a motivation. Yeah, you're right. Of course it is. So I think that is not a bad thing to fight to qualify for the Champions League. Could be in a very lower position in the Premier League if you have done a few good things that we have done in these 4 or 5 months. people say now we are 4 now. It could be 11 or 12 or 13 or 14. I don't have any doubts of that. So I take it like, okay, I've not been good, but it's in our hands. And of course, Goodison Park and Villa, it's massively important because it's just 6 games. We don't have much time. I know that our qualification path for Etihad, we know the games we have here and take 1 or 2 games away. And we have a first opportunity tomorrow in Liverpool.